I'm so excited to speak to our guest today. She is an aesthetic physician assistant that specializes in weight loss, aesthetics, HRT. Please help me to introduce Nelly.
Hi everybody, I'm happy to be here. Again, my name is Nelly and I hail all the way from Cuba. Spent 12 years in New York where I got my PA degree, and I've been 4 years here in Florida. I moved down because I was freezing cold. So that sunny weather is what brought me down here to Florida. So yeah, I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you for coming. Hi, my name is Jonathan McLean, and I'm the founder and CEO of McLean Aesthetics.
Welcome to the dark side.
Let's go. Awesome. Well, Nelly, thanks for coming and joining me today.
Thank you for taking the time. It's Sunday.
Yes.
On Labor Day, and we are here. That has to speak to something, right?
Yes, hardworking.
Exactly.
Now, I love your name, Nelly Gal. Well, tell me a little bit about your heritage, or where did that come from?
So, like I said before, I come from Cuba. So I was born in Cuba, and I came to the United States when I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
So, as you probably know, Spanish, right, does not translate very well to English in terms of naming.
Yeah.
So my name was Dainelis Diaz. It was completely different, but people could not call me that. For some reason, it's very hard to pronounce. So they will call me things like Natalie or Danielle. And when I became a citizen, I changed my name. Obviously, I was married at the time, so I got my husband's last name. So all my family used to call me Nelly growing up, so I kind of let that run and took that as my full name.
Super cool. Now, you told me originally you're from New York, correct?
Yes, well, originally from Cuba, but I spent 12 years up there in New York.
Nice. What made you pick South Florida?
The sun. So being that I am Caribbean, to put it that way, I was really having a lot of issues with the cold weather in New York. And at some point I said, you know what, I am done. I have no real strong ties to New York, and I'm gonna go down to South Florida and try to just enjoy the weather and enjoy the beach.
Now, if we could talk about the different markets, I know New York is so different than the South Florida. What would you say about New York versus South Florida, how they may be different as far as aesthetics are concerned?
As far as aesthetics are concerned, I worked in a medical spa. Actually, I used to own a medical spa in New York City.
Wow.
And we used to do all of these procedures, right? But I was an esthetician at the time. I was not a PA. And what happened is that in New York, people are a little bit more subtle with their improvements.
Yeah.
They don't want anyone to know what they do. And that's something that down here in South Florida doesn't, necessarily, is not necessarily true.
Yeah.
We are very, very proud down here of improvements and aesthetic enhancements and whatever makes us feel confident and comfortable around other people, being out there in the sun, in the beach. You want to look your best, you want to feel your best. So that's one of the differences that I that I have experienced between New York and South Florida. Just the subtlety up there, and down here is more it's more prominent. When people have done some things.
Yeah, no, for sure. I hear that all the time. I speak to providers in the New York City area. They would say, like, people come in, mask, everything, they hide themselves, and they don't want people to know what they're really doing. But in South Florida, it's so big, it's extra, it's big.
Yeah.
Big.
It's definitely a very big change of pace down here. And you see it, people just purchasing a lot of deals online. Then out there in New York City, not necessarily everybody, trusts the providers that are on deal sites. I am one of them, so I have, obviously no qualms about it.
Yeah.
But there that difference, that makes a huge difference. Being down here, you will always know someone that is doing Botox, that is doing lip injections, that's trying to lose weight, that's trying to go on hormonal replacement just to feel better, to look better, and again, just be part of the community and feel confident.
That's very true. Florida is a very health and wellness type of state. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's working out, everybody wants to look in shape and fit, want to look very like healthy. So
Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
Exactly.
What are some trends that you see in the South Florida area now?
Trends. Well, in terms of aesthetic medicine, people are trying now to be a little bit more subtle. When I came in back, I want to say like 3 years ago when I started aesthetic medicine, I used to see everybody trying to look a certain way, super done, super perfect. And now that has changed. I think the trend is trying to look your best, trying to be your best, but not necessarily over the top. A lot of my patients, I will say 85% of my patients, they just want to feel better, not necessarily change their look and change who they are anatomically or physically. It's just to improve their skin and improve just their motions and their skin texture and things like that, but not changing completely. I don't see anymore, make me look like this filter, which I used to. I used to have a lot of patients coming, can you just make me look like this celebrity or that celebrity, or maybe look at that like this filter. And now everyone's like, okay, I am good where I am. I just want to look a little better.
Nice. Now I wanted to get into HRT a little bit. I know you specialize in that also.
Yes.
And I feel like there's so many misconceptions about that. Can you tell us a little bit about why it's so important and how it can benefit someone in their later lives?
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know that after the age of 45, for men and women, we start losing a lot of hormones. And the most common hormones that can be kind of supplemented or replaced are the sex hormones like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, as well as growth hormone, as well as thyroid hormone and insulin, right? So why is that important? Because when you did have that production when you were in your 20s, that's when you felt the best. That's when you looked the best. That's when you had so much energy. That's why, that's when you felt more confident. You were able to gain muscle mass. You were able to, your skin was smoother, right?
Yeah.
You also had a lot of libido, and it's so important to still feel sexy. You're alive, in a beautiful community, in a beautiful place. So you want to feel your best. And hormonal replacement is there to do exactly that, just to help you get back to where you were on your younger years. And I am a huge proponent of it.
Why do you think there's so many misconceptions right now about it?
I think people need to educate themselves. HRT is not for everybody, but it's for a lot of people, right? Education, looking for a physician or a healthcare practitioner that is an expert in the field, that they do exactly this every day or very, very often. I think it has to be. It's very important, because you wouldn't go to like a plumber that has been in the field for a year to do your whole house, right? Same thing. So you want to be able to seek for an expert in the field that can educate you, not so much sell you into anything, but give you the pros and cons and look at your medical history, look at your background, and see if you are a good candidate for it. Because the results and how you can feel when you are on hormonal replacement is amazing.
Nice. Do you think it's like an overuse? Like some people overuse, or can it be overused or abuse?
Absolutely. It's one of the medical, it's one of the treatments that can be overused. I would have to say you would see that more than here in South Florida than anywhere in the country. And it's because of you're at the beach, you're out there, you're trying to look better, you're trying to look better than the other guy or the other girl so you can get more attention. So it can be overused. You will find those people, taking more steroids than others. They're not under the supervision of a physician. They're trying to do that by themselves, like buying things online from, Eastern Europe and things like that, which I would never recommend. You always have to be evaluated by a medical practitioner, as hopefully by an expert at that point, so we can look at your blood levels, we can look at how the medication is interacting with all your chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of abuse in South Florida, and I think that it can be detrimental to your health long run.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that 100%. Not even with HRT, but also with aesthetics. Like, I personally look up stories all the time on the news, and I see people that aren't people that come overseas that inject people in hotel rooms
Yep.
or different type of like illegal things. I'm like, ooh, that's so scary. Your nose can fall off. You can get a problem wrong, an occlusion or something. What is your thoughts on that? Or how do you see that in your industry?
So just to be very careful how we handle that.
Yeah.
An occlusion can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
It can happen to people that do this, or practitioners that do this every single day, because everybody's anatomy is different, right? But we're not talking about those one-offs. We're talking about people that come from Eastern Europe, the UK, all this, unlicensed, illegal practitioners that come to the US and try to undercut our prices. Why? Because the products are definitely cheaper in Europe than they're here, or in South America than they're here. And there are reasons for it. We are a litigious society. We have to go through certain regulating bodies. And yes, there's definitely a lot of money that has to be spent. So the problem is that undercutting and the perception of the patient, right, as to what is to get something injected in your face. This is not going to do your nails. This is not going to do your hair. This is not going to get a massage or a facial. This is a medical procedure that takes years to perfect. And the fact that somebody is coming and undercutting the prices, it's putting out there that we're not worth it, that our training is not worth it, that the way that we look and at your face and in your anatomy, and the decisions that we make to make you look better, it's not worth it. Yeah. So yes, it's really prominent down here in South Florida, because again, people are trying to do the most. And when that happens, there is a lot of room for people to take advantage of that and start, doing these illegal procedures anywhere. So if, a lip filler is going to cost you $100, God knows what is being put in your face. And yes, that sounds much better than $700. Absolutely. But when you do it with us, certified healthcare practitioners, mid-levels, and doctors, you know that you can always come back to us and we will have a solution for any problems. Whereas if you do this in somebody's basement, you don't even know what product it is. You don't know if they have the right training to help you. And I have seen recently a lot of complications coming from, illegal practices down in Miami, where the patients start seeking help from practitioners on Instagram, kind of like, please help me because I got injected in some place and this is what happened, and now I am, I don't have any clue what to do. So it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, no, I always tell people when I advocated for a lot, like, spend extra money, go find somebody that's legit and that you're safe with. You don't want to go and get somebody that you don't know where the lot number is, where this product came from or anything, and then half your face is off or something's wrong and you can never replace that. Your limbs might it might go through your whole body, so you never know what's going to happen.
I totally agree. I've seen these BBLs, liquid BBLs, which are extremely, very, very prominent. I don't know how they inject in that way. And the patients can end up with huge amount of infections, but necrosis, and also they can have a pulmonary embolism. So, and that's, it's very, very serious. Like, your life is on the line.
Yeah, for sure. How did you start this, and what made you want to start your own business?
Okay, so first things first, this is a space that I rent. It's a space that belongs to a friend of mine that used to be my patient. And why I left a steady paycheck to paycheck kind of clinic, because I love my independence. I love having to, having the ability to schedule my time, having the ability to see who I want to see, and just be autonomous. So in the place that I used to work before, I used to have to see a lot of patients and I got burned out. So A lot of us, I'm speaking for myself, a lot of us that left the practice looked for more stability in terms of like balance, right?
Yeah.
Work-life balance, and that's really important to me. I like to travel. I like to, enjoy the weather. That's why I came to South Florida, because I really wanted to enjoy this weather and this lifestyle, and I'm able to do that as of now. I'm working about 3 days a week, which is very comfortable for me. At this time, I'm looking to get a new location and possibly expand, but I'm enjoying this time that I have.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people ask me the question, like, am I ready to kind of go on my own, things like that.
Yeah.
How did you know you were ready? How many years did you put into it? Like, when did you?
Good question. So I came to South Florida in 2019. That's when I started working for a big chain or a big franchise in aesthetics. And I stayed with them for 2 years. In those 2 years, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the industry. I learned a lot about customer service, product types, vendors, labs, hormonal replacement, weight loss. I knew nothing about it. They don't teach any of this in PA school.
Yeah.
So it was a whole new world, right?
Yeah.
So I would say if you've had that amount of time and that amount of exposure, meaning I used to see up to 25 patients a day, 4 to 5 days a week, 9-hour days.
Wow.
So that is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the training that I got there would, it could equate to a training of 5-6 years somewhere else, right? Now, I came to the industry with a goal. My goal was to do exactly what I'm doing today. I was not going to stay in somewhere, working for somebody else, because I want to be the owner of my time.
Yeah.
My time, time you can take it back.
Yeah.
It's gone. So a big thing for me is to have control of how I spend my time. It was very stable, so I don't recommend it if you have to. I don't recommend coming out of a practice like that if you cannot handle instability, right? Because you're gonna have weeks where you don't see a lot of patients, weeks where you're gonna question, where is this money gonna come from? Is this money gonna come from? How can I market myself? What can I do? There's a lot of investment, so you have to spend money on marketing. You have to get yourself social media manager. You have to get yourself a consultant or somebody who is going to handle your books. So there's a good amount of money that has to be invested before you start seeing money coming in. So if you're not ready for that, if you're a single mom or if you have children and your significant other cannot support you at this time, then you're going to have to save for it. So that's my advice to practitioners that want to step out of the employee status. You're still an employee, you're working for yourself, but the possibility of you becoming an actual business owner and not just a self-employed person that they're hire once you come out and you really experience what is to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no. And I'm glad you mentioned that, honestly, because there is so much money you have to put in before you can even see a return. Like, these pharmaceutical companies make you pay for the products up front. Mm-hmm. If you hire a esthetician or whatever you bring into your business, you got to pay for all that up front before one patient walks in.
Correct.
Now, I know you spoke a little bit about team and building a team, and I know that's very important. How did you build your team successfully?
So it kind of fell into my hands. I was very intentional about asking out there. I asked online, I asked on Facebook, on Instagram, and I asked the universe, please send me somebody that can help me. And Brittany came into my life. Brittany is my aesthetic consultant and my friend, and she's absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful and blessed to have her in my team, because the level of professionalism, the level of knowledge she has from the industry. She used to work for a plastic surgeon for 10 years. So she's somebody that can schedule she can schedule a treatment, but she can also consult. She can also do sales over the phone. And we do something called virtual consultations for a lot of our patients, where We're able to have the patient send some pictures. We look at the pictures and we recommend a treatment plan, which is mostly yearly or a 2-year span. And that helps us to give the patient a really, like an overall structure, a holistic way of looking at aesthetics and not just come and do little bit by little bit. So she has definitely helped to solidify that plan that I had in my head. Like I said, I'm not a big planner. So it's a very difficult process. So you really have to know what you want as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. You really need to know what you want from somebody and then ask, that question. Are you able to do this? And it has not been 100% smooth because when you work with somebody head to head, hand in hand, there's always going to be something that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
But what I have learned from the process is to listen to the other person and to always try to come up with solutions. There isn't a problem that doesn't have a solution. So it is difficult to build a team. It is not easy. Just try to look for somebody that you can trust and that you have, that you actually look up to, and has a level of professionalism and work ethic that is as yours or even better.
Yeah, no, I agree. You definitely have to match the level of intensity that you have, or a little bit below, because you might be wanting to work all this and do all these creative ideas, and the other person's like, why? It's not going to help you to grow your business. So exactly. I think it's a trial and error, but
it is.
I love what you said.
Absolutely, it's a trial and error, and I got very lucky that my first employee is somebody that is so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So I'm again super lucky, and I wish that for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk about competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many spots popping up all over South Florida from everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage that, or is there any competition at all?
I think, of course, there is competition, but I don't see the competition from a point of view of competing with somebody. I think the competition, it has to be there so that we elevate ourselves as practitioners, and that the patients are able to see you, meaning us, differently, and who do they click with, right? Because you wouldn't be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think that for the most part, people down here in South Florida, because we have so many customers, we've become really good at what we do. And we have an eye for artistry, we have an eye for anatomy, we go to the conferences, we do all of this training. So the competition is not really on the level of on your technique. It's more so on your bedside manner. It's more so on also pricing as well, right? On overhead. If you have a big overhead, you might have to collect more from your patients. So all of that plays a big role. But competition helps us to elevate and helps us to be better and do better for our patients. I don't think competition scares me. I think my patients come to me because they know me. They want to know me as a human being, just as I want to know them as a human.
Yeah. No, I love how you put that. Competition elevates us, right?
Yeah.
Imagine with just one provider in one city. That's the level of standard.
Exactly.
Exactly. But because there's so many, you want to raise yourself. And
yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. That's
Thank
a really
you.
good point. Really good point. Now, social media has took over South Florida and took over this industry by storm.
Yeah.
How has social media helped you to build your business?
Well, social media is one painful part of I'll say my existence. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And the fact is that it has become very superficial.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be extremely honest with you. And I come from this industry, this market, which has an element of superficiality and just focusing on flaws and focusing on being excellent and focusing on I'm better than you because I can afford this treatment or because I know. I mean, it gets really tricky.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is, go out there, give my patients a little bit of a taste of what I do, incorporate a lot of reels, a little bit of videos here and there, so that they can take it, they can have a taste of who I am as a human being, like I said.
Yeah.
And that seems to help I am not interested in perfection, and
Yeah.
that's not something that I strive for. I'm interested in humanity, and I'm interested in them, having a little peek on what is it to come and see Nelly. So that's how I take social media, and it's different from everybody. I'm not super focused on before and afters, like the procedures and things like that, because, like I said, everybody has their own sauce, and we're all really good practitioners. It's who you are as a person, and who you are. Who can you see me when I come to see you?
Yeah.
And that's what I am interested in, giving them the option of like, hey, there is a practice that you're not a number. You are, you are Karen or you are George, and I see you, and you stay with me forever. And that's what I really like.
Yeah, that bedside manner that you were talking
I'm
about.
telling you.
Do you get a lot of clients off of social media? People follow you and say, "Hey, I want to come see you."
Absolutely. So I do get a lot of clients from social media. How I do this is, well, I always obviously tell my patients, please follow me on Instagram and just give me a shout out. And the other thing is like their friends, because if somebody looks good, hey, what did you do? Not necessarily know me, and they go to my Instagram through their Instagram, and I get a lot of requests from there. And also I use it to just promote the services, right? Promote the monthly specials, promote the before and afters. What did I use? How did I do it? So I do get a lot of really good feedback and clients from social media. Yeah.
How do you handle like patient expectations?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I love that question. We could sit here forever to do this.
Yeah.
I have a very honest conversation with my patients, and the honest conversation starts from, what is it that you're here for, right? And then I follow up with what I can do for you. It always comes to a budget situation where, I have this amount, what can we do with it? And I'm like, okay, I'm able to do this, and that, and these are the results that you can expect. 50% improvement, 70% improvement, 30% improvement. And I'm always somebody that under promise and over deliver. It's a good strategy to do it that way.
Yeah.
People have really unrealistic expectations because they don't know. They're not educated, especially in this area. I have a lot of women who come in, it's their first time. So they think that because they're spending X amount of dollars, they should get X amount of results. So I have to work very hard at explaining, how the industry work. How is it that it's not a one-time thing? How is it that you will have to come back most likely and get more work done? And most people take it very well, and other people are disappointed because they think that it's an expensive field. It is elective, right? Procedures that once you spend a certain amount of money, the red carpet has to be in front of you.
Yeah.
So that it's really a tricky thing to do, but I can tell you one thing: I don't have unhappy patients due to expectation.
Yeah.
Because I'm able, like I said, when you sit in my chair, I look at you, we exchange energy, and I tell you exactly like it is. And if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Well, I guess that leads me to my next question, but I guess you kind of answered it already. Do you fear a patient like bad reviews or things like that?
I do. I mean, we all do. We're humans. It's not a fear. It's more so what did I do that, it was not up to your expectation, right? How did I fail to communicate with you? That you had to take the time and go ahead and, leave a bad review. So fortunately, I haven't had the case, of people just going out there and slandering my name. Because one of the things that, like I said, when you come to me, I truly take the time to get to know you as a person, and I connect with you so that we're in the same page. So that is what I strive for, being in the same page with my patient so that she or he leaves happy, or at least leaves with a thought process like, okay, I had to come back and do more. She did take the time to explain. why is it that with one session I'm not going to see results, or why is it with one syringe I'm not going to see results? And I discourage people, if you cannot do an X amount of, just don't do anything, because if you just do a little bit, you're going to be disappointed. And unless you have a conversation with me, I look eye to eye, we say, okay, we can start with one thing or one syringe and then go and build upon that and understand that that's not the final result, then I can work with you.
Have you ever had to redirect a patient?
Redirect in what sense?
Like, I know you say you speak to patients, you look them in the eye.
Yeah.
And you, like, if you get a red flag or something, have you ever said to say, hey, maybe I'm not the right provider for you? Or
Absolutely. So recently I had a patient that she was going to go for plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And I think in November.
Yeah.
And she still wanted like a pick-me-up. So I do a procedure called pedio threads. I'm sure you heard about them.
For sure.
And at the beginning of the consultation, I was like, okay, perfect. Let's get you started. We're going to do I think this will really alleviate some of the sagging of the skin. And she was happy with that.
Yeah.
Now, came the day of doing the procedure, we started talking more. And she's like, well, is it going to do this, right? Which is like 99% of us do, try to stretch our face back. And I'm like, well, that's not what the pedio thread is there for, especially for really fine lines. The pedio thread is just to reposition fat and reposition the layers of the skin that are sagging the most, but not necessarily to retexturize your skin with a lifting effect. For that, you have to do a CO2 laser, a series of chemical peels, a potential microneedling, a halo, something like that, right?
Wow, yeah.
But she started talking more so about that specific problem than the lifting, or kind of combining them both. And that was a red flag for me. And that was a very expensive procedure that I had to forego because I could not meet her expectation. So in that case, I have no qualms on just saying somebody, I am so sorry. I thought that we were on the same page, but we're clearly not.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and have your facelift in November, and then you can come back and we can continue talking about maybe a series of chemical peels, potential microneedling, or just regular facials so that we can make your texture look a little better, right? But this is not the right procedure for you. So I catch it. I knew exactly she was not going to be happy with the treatment. So yeah, I definitely have to redirect patients. Just because expectations, right, don't match.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, definitely. Now, I wanted to go back to work-life balance for a quick second. Now, what are some things that you do outside of work that helps you to kind of balance or make you feel good?
That's a good question. Being an entrepreneur, you don't really get a break.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
You don't get a break because you have patients, but you also have vendors and you have marketing. And you have to come up with ideas on how to approach the next month. And that does not stop. And basically, you're also trying to look for trainings and to look how, on how to elevate yourself and give your patient better experience. So there are no breaks. Yeah. So what do I do to take myself out of work mode? For the most part, I would say probably just 50%. I travel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So my husband right now lives in Bahamas. Wow. So I go to Bahamas very often. He used to leave. He is from Sweden. So I used to go to Sweden every 2 months. And day to day, working out. I like to work out. I do that a couple times a week. I just took knitting, guys. Okay. I took on knitting. Nice. I know that sounds like, not so sexy thing to do. But it helped me to be in the moment, it helps me it's very meditative. So that helps. And going to the beach, being with friends, that really helps too. So that's what I always wanted to do. When I was in New York and I lived for 12 years in New York, it was all like, oh my God, how can I go back to Florida? And how can I live this lifestyle? Because you only have one life. That's, my thing is you only have one life, and you're not going to go, you're not going to be buried with all your stuff. You're going to be buried with memories and experiences, and that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah, and being in the moment, I like how you said that, so many times we're focused on what's going to happen in the future. Some people are focused on what happened in the past, how can that change, but really being in the moment and knowing this is where I'm here right now, let me live right here.
Correct. And I'm a culprit, and I said, being somebody that takes responsibility for their direction in life, that is a big part of it. Planning, looking ahead, looking back, seeing what mistakes. Personally, I am away from my husband, from the one person that I take, I gather a lot of great energy from. So it is hard, when you're not with somebody that is supporting you physically. Mentally, yes, but physically, you are alone in that sense. So it could be rather really hard. And I can only imagine if you have kids, or if you have issues with, your family and health and all that stuff. So we do have to take the time and appreciate what we have today, which is, a book full of patients, hopefully, being grateful that you can change somebody's life with your touch, that you can make connections with people, look them in the eye and see them, right? That's something that it's a gift. It's a gift of today, of waking up and taking a breath. So those little things, they do make a difference, and God knows I have to be better at it as well.
For sure.
It's a work in progress.
For sure. Now, I know being healthy and being fit is definitely a big part of this role. What is your opinion on that, as far as really staying up to date, really presenting yourself as an image that you are all the time?
Yes. So from a superficial standpoint, the patients are going to come to you because to some level, they want to look like you, right? But more so on a health level, right? Health and wellness for us medical providers, we have to spend so much energy with each patient that we have to have kind of, we need to be able to stand for 9 hours, to look presentable for 9 hours, to look the same from that first patient at 9 a.m. that at 8 p.m., right? So how do we do that? We have to take care of our bodies, when you take care of your body, your mind is better, your mind is right? So having to assume a position that you're standing upright, that you're having to engage your upper body, and again, being able to be super, how can I say this, soft with your touch, but at the same time, being purposeful. That takes a level of physicality that you have to, work at it. It doesn't come naturally to us. So I see a lot of practitioners and myself kind of slouching, kind of taking that more comfortable position, and we really have to understand that we are humans too. And it's not all about giving, but it's about receiving, and it's about taking care of the instrument with which we make money, and the instrument that we use to make other people happy and confident, and having them love themselves. So it's a must in my experience.
Nice. How often do you work out?
I work out at least 3 days a week.
Amazing.
I do approximately 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and I could do more, but this is where I'm comfortable with, where I'm not sore all the time, right? I'm not hurting, but I also aware of my posture, aware of my, how I stand or how I approach the patient, and having that stamina. I think when you work out, you also elevate your levels of testosterone, your own levels of testosterone, and that is so important because testosterone gives you the ability to, be more energetic, to have that muscle mass, and your stance, and also that sharpness. So that really helps. So yeah.
Speaking of mental health, is there any podcasts or anything that you listen to kind of keep that going?
Yeah, so there's this app that I really, really love. It's called Gaia. I don't know if you've heard about it, Gaia. And Gaia is a platform for meditation, yoga, a lot of metaphysics, a lot of quantum, and I'm very into that field. And they have practitioners such as, Dr. Joe Dispenza that I listen to a lot. He is he's a neurosurgeon or a psychologist. I don't recall very well what his background is, but he does amazing meditations that help me to, be a better servant to my patients. So very centering, understanding, where you are, what you do, being in the moment, being present, right? And sometimes, I mean, I do get flustered when I have, you know, a couple patients waiting for me in my living room, my living room, right? I mean, I spent 10 hours here, so it is my living room, in my waiting room, and I still have to give all of that love to the patient, to the person that is sitting in the chair. So that helps me understand, you know, where I am with my energy and how I'm not squandering it, I'm not giving it away, I'm not getting so upset about like what's happening in the background. I think meditation and breathing are great tools, and also conversations. Look for people that help you. How can I say this? Not to help you be better, you know, that are not takers. My patients for the most part are takers because they come to get, right? It is just it's the truth, right? So you have to replenish that. How do you go back to your life and to your friends and your families and your kids? And you replenish that well, you know? Do you replenish it by yourself, by centering, by listening to, you know, meditations, or by just going to the beach and being quiet and not talking to anybody? Or you have a friend, or you have a therapist. I am a huge advocate for therapy. I'm a huge advocate for talking about things that are, you know, getting under your skin, you know? So that just makes us as practitioners, and in general, people should have somebody that they can trust and open themselves up so they can feel better. So yeah, I think the mindset aspect of it helps tremendously deal with the hundreds and thousands of different personalities. Yeah. And we have to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I have no proof of this, but I feel like when you do all of those things combined with the services that you offer, you just look much better.
Yeah, definitely.
Your inside, I feel like your inside reflects on your outside, no matter what.
Yeah.
So when you're not like calm in your head or calm in your heart or whatever, it's not gonna reflect on the outside.
Yeah. I have a little phrase that I tell my patients every time I'm injecting them. It's very funny. I tell them, I love you so much. And then I go in with the needle, so it's like, you know, the good and the bad, and hopefully they stick with the I love you so much and not so much with the pain that I'm inflicting them. Because I do love them. I you know, I'm so blessed when you choose me to help you. You could choose anyone and you came to me. That is a privilege that sometimes we lose in translation. We're just, oh yeah, another patient. And I have so many of them that they come from other practices, where larger practices, so they're not as personable. They're like, I just want to be seen. I want you to hear me, you know? And I have patients that I have to spend with them 40 minutes to an hour just to do a simple procedure, because that's what they need. So I pride myself in that.
Nice. Do you use a dental block by chance?
I actually don't. I don't. For a lot of procedures, I use numbing cream. I use the vibrating tool device. I mean, I can do a dental block, but I think people don't really want to be numb for like hours at a time. Yeah. They don't even want to be numb for an hour. Yeah. So I find myself not doing a dental block. Sometimes when I do lips and patients are very, very sensitive, I do the Amsterdam technique, which is just really going in, you know, under like in the mucosal area of the lip and injecting a little bit of lidocaine. And that really seems to help.
Nice. Now, I know continuous education is huge for providers, right? There's so many new things changing every year. And you want to be the best for yourself, so you can be the best for your patient.
Yeah.
How big is that for you, and what are some courses or some events that people can attend?
Yeah. So the conference that I really like the most, just for general health and wellness, is the A4M. Yeah. Right? The A4M, the Academy for Functional Medicine. They have incredible speakers from all over the world, people who are, you know, on the pulse in everything that's happening, health and wellness. For aesthetics, I love the Vegas aesthetic show. It is incredible. I have a lot of fun. I look at all of the newer technologies that are out there, and then, obviously you have to discern which will fit your practice the most. So those are the two conferences that I love to engage with. And then there are so many trainings happening at the same time. I mean, every single company, every single vendor has a training on a new technique or just going and refreshing what you know. Online, a lot of great resources. One of them is the aesthetic immersion. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. Those two doctors and mid-level practitioner. They again have a platform that is incredible if you're trying to just learn about, or if you are a little bit more advanced and are looking for kind of finessing your techniques.
Yeah.
So those are that's how I get my training.
Nice. Now, for a new injector, somebody that's just looking to break into the field,
Yeah.
what conference, or what would you suggest for them to do first, like a one step?
Well, and they have to go to these companies that they do, bare minimum, right?
Yeah.
How to step on it.
Yeah.
Is this like 3-4 day courses where they teach you very basic level anatomy, right, physiology, and then how the product affects the anatomy. And I think Empire Medical is a big company that has a lot of courses, and then you can find one-off courses here and there. The second level will be a cadaver course. And the cadaver course is where you have cadavers, like human cadavers, and you go in, you inject, you look at the anatomy, you look at how that product got into the tissue, how it settled. It's very beneficial because you need to know, for the most part, your facial your vessels, right, your arteries, your veins, because that's how you keep safe, right? So it's really good to have those two trainings as a basement, as a support, so that from there you can go to trainings, a little bit more advanced trainings that they're given by the vendors. So Galderma and Allergan and MERS, they can come to your practice with their mid-level practitioners and give you training, or they can offer training so that obviously you have to purchase the product, right? But we have to anyways. And they're so common, so at least you have one of those trainings once a month.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, learning from others is huge. Who are some people on social media that you follow that people can learn from, or that people should follow?
Yeah, there are so many. I'm telling you, like, people are injectors are very good, especially the ones on Instagram, because I can mention one specifically because there's so many. I'm gonna lose. I'm just going to kind of miss Injector Bunny, the Lip Queen, the Nose Nurse. Those are the three of them, I follow just because I really love their work, and they're very educational and very aesthetic at the same time. I have to say something. There isn't out there including myself, a practice that takes the human aspect of aesthetic medicine into play and portrays it and kind of sees the person. Everybody's trying to just do a before and after, and yes, I want to go there and look how amazing I am. Yeah. And yes, it does. We are in aesthetic medicine, but it's beyond that. Yeah. And in my experience, the patient comes in because they want to feel better, more so than looking better. They want to feel better. They want to know that they invested something in themselves that over time or in the future can make them feel better. So we are missing that in the industry, and I'm still finding my voice. I'm still trying to see how can I approach that in a way that the patients listen and can hear, and it's not just do some little Botox so my eyebrows can be lifted. Yeah. Everybody can, not everybody, but a lot of us can do that, right? So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, because right now the aesthetic industry, like I said, is very superficial, and we have to dig a little deeper as to what's really happening. Why is that patient coming in to see you? How are you connecting with them? What can you do for them? How is what you're doing impacting at home, right? A lot of women come in and their husbands don't know about it. So why? They used 3 different credit cards or, 5 different, methods of payment because they are not, their husbands say, absolutely not, we're not doing this. And at the end of the day, that person is telling them, you're not worth it. And why? So I like to explore that. I would like to explore those intentions, So yeah, that's, those are like, I have my people, but I tend to shy away from that aspect of it and concentrate more on when they come in and, I see my patient and be there for them, exchange that sort of, energy with them.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and speaking more about the aesthetic industry. I'm sure everybody will learn a lot from what you had to say. Tell everybody where they can find you, what you got planned next.
Perfect. So for everybody out there, again, my name is Nelly Gal. I am the owner and operator of Live Vibrant Wellness and Aesthetics, and we are located at 618 Ocean Avenue in Boynton Beach. The zip code is 33435. And what do I have planned for today is today's Labor Day. So we're gonna have to get to the beach, have a little mimosa, a little cocktail, celebrate, and just be with my family, with my dog, and then get back to the horse on Tuesday. So that's what we have planned.
Yes, what's your favorite drink?
Oh my God, I have a lot of favorite drinks. I love mimosas. I love lychee martinis. Oh my God. Absolutely love lychee martinis. And a mojito, of course, I'm Cuban, so it has to show up somewhere.
Yes, yes. Well, until next time.
Bye, guys.